Okay, so guys, what would be the name of this figure here?
Cylinder.
Cylinder. Spelled C-Y-L-I-N-D-E-R. Okay, so when I use the word base with a capital, I'm not talking about a number. I'm talking about a shape. So what is the shape that is the base of a cylinder? Circle. Okay, so then what does a base mean?
The number.
No, it means area of
The base.
In other words, the area of
The
circle. So it's pi times the radius squared. So what was the radius of that circle?
5.
5. So it's 5 squared?
25.
25. So the area of the base is going to be
5.
25 pi units squared. Okay? That's familiar, right? It's from last week. Okay, now the circumference is going to be 2 pi times the radius. So again, what's the radius? What's the radius? 5. So it's 2 times 5?
10.
10. So the circumference, this distance here, is going to be 2 times 5 times pi, or 10 pi units. And remember, circumference, just like perimeter, is the distance. Now I want you to think about this. This is the circumference, right? If I was to unravel this, what I would end up with is this shape right here, right?
Correct.
This rectangle has to wrap exactly around the circumference. Does that make sense? So what's the distance of this rectangle here?
10.
Not 10. Oh wait.
No, 9.
It's 10 pi.
5.
You guys get that?
Yeah.
Because this has to wrap around that circle. Can everybody visualize that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then the width of this circle, or the base, lowercase b base, is 10 pi. What is the height of this circle? Or sorry, the height of this rectangle?
5. 10.
10. If you don't see it, I want you to pay really close attention here. This has to wrap around in a circle, right? It wraps around this. So this distance is equal to this. And this distance is equal to this. Does that make sense? So the lateral area is equal to the circumference of the base times the distance between the bases. Okay? Because, in other words, it's the area of this rectangle. So what is 10 times 10 pi? 100 pi what? 100 pi. Now don't rush. Is this an area or a volume?
Area.
Area, so squared. Good. 100 pi units squared is the lateral area. Now let's think about this. The lateral area is the total area of the walls, right? The surface area is the bases and the walls together. So how many bases are there in the cylinder? 2. One in the front, one in the back. So what was the area of the base? 25 pi. So how many of those do we have?
2.
2. So what's 2 times 25?
50.
50. So we have 50 pi plus the walls, which was 100 pi. So what's 50 pi plus 100 pi?
150.
150 pi units
squared.
squared. That's the surface area of the cylinder. Okay? It's this circle, the back circle, and the rectangle that wraps around them, all put together. Okay? Surface area is probably the hardest thing to do in a prism or a cylinder because there's a lot of steps. But basically, again, the lateral area will be the circumference times this length. And then the area of the base, there'll be 2 of those. So it's 2 of this plus 1 of this equals this. Okay. Last, the volume. Volume is pretty easy. You take the area of the base, you multiply by the distance between the bases. So what's the area of the base?
10.
Pay attention. Don't say the wrong thing.
Area of the base.
Is 25 pi. And how far apart are the 2 bases?
The area, not it's the area?
I'm being very specific. Yeah, it's the area of the base
Oh.
times the distance between the bases. So what's the area of the base here?
25 pi.
25 pi. And what's the distance between the bases?
10.
10 units.
10. So what's 25 pi times 10? 250
Pi.
pi units
Cubed.
cubed. Okay. Correct. Okay, next one. We're going to use the front to represent the base here. So what shape is the main shape or the base of this prism?
Rectangle.
Rectangle. So what kind of prism would this be called?
Rectangular prism.
The rectangular prism. Okay, so what is the base of a rectangular prism? It's a rectangle, of course. And what is the area of this base? Well, base times height, 12 times 5 is 60. So the answer is 60 what?
Units.
Units squared. The perimeter of the base, 12 plus 5 plus 12 plus 5.
10 plus 24.
34
34
units.
units. Okay, so now the lateral area. What we have here is that this will all unwrap. So we've got our main, this is our base, and then we've got this. Okay, so these are our bases, and these are our walls. Did everybody see that? It's good to be able to draw a net quickly. This is it unfolded. So the lateral area will be the four walls together. Okay? So in other words, it's taking this and unraveling it. So the perimeter is equal to this distance. You see that? The perimeter is equal to the base of this rectangle. So what was the perimeter again? 34. And then this distance will be equal to the distance between the front and the back. So how far is it from the front to the back? 4. So what we've got here is 34, and this is 4. So if you want to find the area of this thing, you do 34 times 4. So write it out. What's 34 times 4?
$136.
136. It's 136 units, what? Squared. Okay, and then the surface area is the two bases plus the lateral area. So what is the area of the base?
60.
60. It says it right here. Just read. How many bases do we have?
2.
2. So it's 120 plus 136 for the whole thing. 256 is correct. 256 what?
Units squared.
Units squared, of course. And then lastly, the volume. The way we do the volume is you take the area of the base and you multiply by the distance between the bases. So what is the area of the base here?
60.
60. And how far apart are the two bases?
4.
4. So 60 times 4 will get you an answer. 240 units cubed. Okay, and that's how it works. So again, follow it. I think all the little details, we've talked about them. Sometimes they don't all sink in at once. So practice and repetitions would get it there for you. So good luck. Ask a lot of questions. Thank you.